Hello everyone, it's Ian, and today I want to talk about my match against Cal Connor at Las Vegas Regional this past weekend. So, this matchup is Gardevoir Jellicent versus Dragapult Dusknoir. This one's pretty simplistic how it plays out. Your goal as a Gardevoir player is to get Gardevoir out before the Dragapult player is able to wipe your board. So, going this game, I will be very much paying attention to just getting my curlies out as quick as possible and just prioritizing that. And along with that, I want to try and get my frillish going so that I am able to hopefully be able to, if they attempt to use frillish, I can, actually not frillish, Badoo, I am able to respond with a monkey plus frillish to knock it out, which will sometimes work. So here I discard a rare candy, as in this matchup. Rare candy is usually pretty useless, with you will be under Badoo lock for most of the game where the card rare candy would matter, so that's why I discarded it. Here I decided to just attach to active because I want to hit my energy attachment this turn, and also usually yes you want your vessel to combine with things like Ultra Ball. I wanted to really just prioritize getting out my excuse me, my energy in play, and also just trying to get towards Curlia as quick as possible. Those are my main priorities at this time. So here Cal is going to be digging for is a turn 2 Badoo with into hopefully turn 3 Dusclops KO onto my like Ralts, and then just counter catcher the other Ralt slash Curlia and knock them both out. That's what he's going to be looking for on the with this turn. His hand looks quite powerful from what I saw, with him being able to have access to Lilies plus Latias and Poffin this turn, which makes it very easy for him to find what he is looking for. Here he's just prize checking, make sure he knows what is prize and what is not. This is quite important in this matchup, and also all matchups really understand what is prize and what is not. Make sure you play optimally. This weekend I was a little under the weather, so I did not feel very well. So what I did this weekend is I prize checked less, because I felt that, in my opinion, when you're not feeling as good and you're not 100% confident in your play, you should try to dumb things down as much as possible. You want to make sure that it's just, you give yourself less opportunities to make mistakes. So here I just didn't prize check as much, because I just wanted to really make sure that I focused on the gameplay and didn't use my energy on making sure I knew perfectly my prizes. I just checked all the things that would like change the gameplay here. Like, did I prize like double monkey, double dark? Did I prize my secret box? Things like that. Just things that really changes how you fundamentally play games slash matchups. Here, Cal has achieved everything he usually needed to this turn, hitting the turn 2 energy onto Cloak plus Badoo plus Duskull. So he's able to respond to Evo or really anything else. He only can't respond to his Curlia, Evo, into Gardevoir, but it's not that likely for my deck to generate that play on this turn. Recons. And here I think you could burn the Blade Hoffinson's hand, but it's not that big of a deal. I think you're supposed to just do that because they're really bad draws going forward. Here I get really punished for not benching the Frillish last turn because I draw Jellicent. Jellicent's quite good here because I can just evolve in the Jellicent, and he has to find natural boss to be able to knock out both, which isn't all that likely. Here I put the 10 on Duskull because I don't want to give him damage from Monkey to go like Phantom Dive, knock out a Ralt plus something like double Ralts if he has to use Dusclops this turn. He ends up hanging out Lucha, so it doesn't matter, but that's why I did it there, so that if he's forced to use Dusclops this turn, then I can feel pretty safe about him to evolve the next turn. So here, this is pretty much like the worst case scenario for me. Cal's going to be able to get here with his hand double knockout, and the game is kind of unwinnable at this point, to be honest. I do end up playing it out, which I think in retrospect is a little bit of a mistake. But the odds of winning just aren't really all that high, because what needs to happen from here is I need to be able to eventually get out a Clefairy and also get out a Gardevoir and be able to take a knockout like 2 Dragapult and also survive versus Luna, and that's just not really all that likely. So I think that me playing this game out is going to be a mistake, but I do decide to play it out. And the game actually becomes very interesting, and I do think that if I played a little bit better, I could have definitely won this game. Here, scores Counter Catcher, because Counter Catcher is like good on this turn, but not really going forward. If he wants to use Dusclops, which he's not going to use Dusclops, so he's Boss in hand. So Counter Catcher is basically just a dead card going forward, so that's why he just discards it. Also, the deck usually plays 3 copies of it, so you don't really mind discarding one early. Here, put the damage on the Curlia instead of like my monkey, because he just wants to be able to clear my damage, since maybe I'll use it for like with my monkey to do something pretty good. That was saying he is probably too sure what I'm gonna use it for. Here, I have Fez, so I'm trying to figure out the best play is like, how do I ever win this game? And the conclusion I end up coming to is that I can, if I Evo here, I'm able to get a Gardevoir the next turn, and that if I get a Gardevoir the next turn, maybe I can win from there, because if I set up Gardevoir, it means that I'm then able to go use Clefairy. But there's a small problem with my strategy here that I will discuss in a second. So here, I'm just going to do what I said, which is just set up that, and plus I'm going to Jellicent my active so that he is forced to have to find boss to ever clear both of my Curlias. Here's our Psychic, or it's going to be Dark, since I want to touch Psychic active, because then I can just like Night Stretcher, Super Rod back in the Dark if I need to. Here I grab Research, which actually is completely incorrect in my opinion. I should grab Lilies, because if I grab Lilies, I think there's a good chance I actually want to play it, because I don't always waste one eye on my opponent every single time. Here, I'm doing exactly what I did, which is this Jellicent to make things awkward, then Evo. The Dusknoir is in his discard, if I remember correctly, so it means that the only way he can like knock out my active is with a boss, or so at that point you can't really knock out the Jellicent. So I feel like pretty comfortable in my position with the Jellicent, because then I can set up a lot of different plays from there. Here, he says he'll just like get better setup with I was saying is I don't think he probably wants to give me a new hand, is what I'm assuming, and so that's why he decides to go with Hilda instead of using a Iona that I believe I saw in Cal's. And here I'm checking my discard pile to make sure I know how many resources I have left and what I'm going to be doing going forward to win this game. Let's see. Here, touches Neo Upper, since almost all situations here, he's only going to have access to 2 Dragapults for the rest of the game. Like, he's not really going to ever really evolve with a Dreepy line, because his deck almost definitely doesn't play Rare Candy in it. So that's why he just attaches a Neo Upper here, is because of that. So here he does Phantom Dies, just sets up a board where it's like pretty easy for him to hit 4 prizes in this situation the following turn. So here I have a very interesting situation where I only have one access to one bench spot here. So I had to pick between Monkey and Clefairy, and I decided on here I get nothing, but the following turn I'll be getting Monkey Dory. Excuse me, I forgot the turn where I get the monkey, but this turn I decided to just do this because excuse me, not enough spell for Clefairy because I might need second monkey here, so I'd rather just keep the bench spot open. Here I knock out Dusclops because I need to be able to clear his board of Dusknoir, because otherwise it's way too easy for Cal to win the game. I can't really place energy on my active and then use Clefairy to knock out. It's too easy for him to just find like a Fez and set up knock game. So here I heal 30 from active so that he's unable to win this turn, just going boss Fez and then Phantom Dive. Or excuse me, he could have won anyways, but I just wanted to make sure that he had no avenues to victory this turn. Artisans, assuming just like good cards in bottom. So he's just trying to shuffle his deck. Whenever you get Ionoed, you start Artisan. I think it's always like you can assume that that's what is going on. Let's see here what he does do. Just fails. So just shuffle the deck. Get the cards. I'm assuming again. I don't know how good his hand is, but I just know that the cards in bottom were probably good, somewhat good at the very least, is my assumption. Here, I think this turn he's not really looking for anything in particular. I think he's just trying to set up his hand to react to whatever I do the following turn. I think he probably was trying to find like a Luminous, something like that for Monkey if he needs it the following turn, since Monkey can be quite good in this position. He evolves here, so I think that he's thinking is he doesn't want to open up CC Dragapult for me and then knock out the other Dragapult. Puts him in a really awkward position, so that's why he decided to evolve it here. Because if he does that, then he's kind of forced to take a knockout the following turn. Then I can just go like Iona 1, Clefairy, knock out the other Dragapult, and I'm in a good position. So here, so that's a Jet Headbutt because of actually what I just talked about. Because if he decides to knock out my active, then he gives me the opportunity to go bench Clefairy, Iona 2, knockout. Then he has access to only 6 cards, and if he doesn't find boss, he loses. And he already drew one of his bosses, and he plays 2 to 3. And he's already down 1 boss, so that's why he decided to do this, because then he can set up like Jet Headbutt, win, or excuse me, Phantom Dive, win following turn. So here I feel I'm forced to bench Monkey, because if I don't bench a Monkey, I just go like try to go for like a knockout with Clefairy, I just lose the boss orders on the spot. And I think how he's setting it up is like, I think he likely has boss's orders, so that's why I'm playing the way I am, because I'm trying to fully play around it. Here, touch very determined Fez, because this makes it so that he's forced to find Monkey, boss, plus Jam Tower, which is way too many cards without having access to Recon Directive. And he's also down a Jamming Tower, so I just kind of assume he's not going to have access to another copy of Jamming Tower. It's a really interesting spot for Cal, like how he's supposed to play this game, because he can go knock out my active with Monkey. He can take this multiple different ways. But I think he wants to keep me board locked, though, because of type of before where it gives me access to just knocking out Dragapult and maybe him losing. So that's why I think he's going to be trying to not for it. Or excuse me, I forgot about that correctly. It was he goes for knock on Jellicent here instead of other things, just so that like something like he doesn't lose to Turo, because Turo is pretty game losing to him if he doesn't take the knockout here. So I think it's a very interesting spot because of that. He's supposed to play around Turo, which I think is actually the correct choice, is play around Turo, because enough lists of Jellicent play Turo, even though I do not play Turo. I think that enough people are going to be playing the card where it warrants playing around it a little in this situation. here, just thinking the deck. Gets Ursaluna, so he's able to hit the boss play the next turn. Now he's trying to decide on where to put damage. In my head, I'm like hoping he knocks out Jellicent because I need him to for how my deck is built, but he doesn't know that. Here, I think if our Narcotic is, we're just going to Nest Clefairy, but there's a small problem. With how my deck's built, I bench Clefairy, and I knock out the active. I go to 2, but the issue is that I can't win. Because the problem is that I don't play Boss, and I don't play Turo. So let's say Kalos promotes Halucha, and passes the next turn. If I knock it out, he's actually a counter catcher. He's only not 1, so I just lose. So I just can't really bench anything. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I need to find a play here. My options are knockout active with Gardevoir, like hit 190. What's math again? It's 190 plus 60, just knockout. But I think that I decided against it because I think this boss is too likely for him to have on Fez. I lose a boss or jamming tower. I'll talk about in the second how I think it actually might have been. It might be incorrect what I end up deciding to do, but say I do hit Iono. Thatch. I believe I hold the Nest Ball because I need to get myself out. Yeah, I thought I needed to get myself an out for Clefairy possibly, so or I just keep Nest Ball in deck. And I hit Counter Catcher, so I have a lot of options here. I'll say that for spoiler, I do make one of the. I think I make the incorrect play here, but we'll talk about it in a second. So here, I have a lot of options. I'm counter catching Fez, which is really incorrect because the problem is that if I knock out Fez, he says game on board. He just goes Drowning Brain, 30 on Fez, knockout. But since I already counter catcher Fez, I made the mistake. I should have just counter catchered Monkey, put 30 on Halucha. So he has to find either Jamming Tower, Boss, or Night Stretcher Luminous, which is like pretty good odds off of Fez and 3 other cards. But again, I'm such low odds of winning. I need to be taking risky routes. So I ended up making the wrong choice, which is this, which isn't that good. Because again, if I just go knock out Monkey and play some, I can play 6 on Halucha. It's like pretty good. Because then he's mentioned on a 1-prizer. It's not like perfect though, because the problem is like let's say he does that, like I go knock out Monkey, play 6 on Halucha. He can just go like bench on 1-prizer, pass. The problem is how my deck's built. I can't get a knockout on Fez because I'm already down my first copy, or excuse me, both copies of Bravery Charm. So the play is not perfect. So what I end up deciding here is just okay. Like I lose on board at this point. That's fine. So how do I actually like win if I lose on board? And the conclusion I come to is just bluffing. Just hope that he messes up. That he just doesn't notice that this is game, because I play confident. Like I didn't. I'm not conceding immediately, even though game's on board. So it's like maybe I will get lucky. And basically my thought process, which I think was a mistake too, was like I think I asked the judge like before I how much time was left, and I thought that there's enough time where I shouldn't be too worried about conceding. So I decided to take this route because I felt that was actually like not awful odds. And once he like looked at the artisan, and I was like, okay, maybe he just misses the monkey line. If he misses the monkey line, like this game's actually winnable for me because he has access to Fez, and if he has 3 back cards, I do just win. But here he does have Lily, so unfortunately that did not work for me. That he could have just but not, which is good. I think his line's also not great. Cause the other issue here actually, excuse me, there's not. I was gonna say there was a different issue, but there was no issue here. But yeah, that game was my deck just didn't work too well, unfortunately. I think this matchup's pretty 50-50 because of just how Gardevoir needs to play a lot of stuff to beat other decks, so you don't consistently get your Gardevoirs out as often. Like there's 1 copy of Evo, 1 Arv in my deck. And I think that the mistake I made is definitely one to watch out for. Like don't think of the right play and then just make a completely different play. Like I knew I needed to keep no damage in play or knock out Monkey, but instead I just made a completely wrong play because of the situation. That's all I have for today. Until next time, Ian out. Peace.